Hi, it's Dave of Urban Astro, and tonight I'm going to try to see if I can photograph the Pelican Nebula. Now, it's late May here in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's still like 92 degrees outside, so it's still pretty warm, and I have to wait for the temperature to get down below 90 before I can actually start cooling my camera. But it's supposed to get down into like the low 70s and upper 60s tonight. Like, I know this morning when I got up at 5 o'clock it was about 68 degrees, which is great, but last night when I went to bed it was 95. So right now it's about 92, so it's actually a couple degrees cooler, and I'm hoping that here in about another hour or so the Pelican Nebula will be rising, and I'll be able to start imaging that both tonight and tomorrow night. I've gotten the North American Nebula, but I haven't really gotten the Pelican, and so I'll get parts of the North America, specifically the Cygnus Wall region will be part of the framing that I was looking at that I really kind of liked. And of course all the dark nebula between the North America and the Pelican. It's starting to get dark, as you can probably tell, and my next door neighbors have decided that they're going to turn on their little patio lights. Let me show you what I'm dealing with. Yeah, so we got patio lights there, which interferes with my ability to do astrophotography, but that's okay. Here is my EQ6R Pro with my Astro Tech 80 EDT. Move that guy up. My Astro Tech 80 EDT, and of course I've got my 2600 Pro. I don't know if you can even see it. It's gotten pretty dark here pretty quickly. The sun is setting. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and turn things on, and in about an hour and a half I'm going to go ahead and start powering things up and setting up my imaging plan for the night. Okay, well, I am going to attempt to photograph IC 5070 or LBN 350, otherwise known as the Pelican Nebula, which is right beside the North American Nebula. I've got Nina here started up, as you can see, and I'm in the Sky Atlas right now, and here's the Pelican Nebula. And here's the framing that I've selected for this. And really what I wanted to do was I wanted to get as much of the Pelican here and some of this residual HA that's right over here, as well as the Cygnus Wall section here of the North American Nebula, and this dark nebulosity that's right here that separates the North American Nebula from the Pelican Nebula. So I think that that would be a really nice shot right there. You can see the Pelican right here. This looks kind of like a pelican there. That's why it's named that. I was debating, because down here there's a whole bunch of nebulosity down here too. But with the 480 millimeter focal length that I've got, I'm not going to be able to capture really any of that stuff down here, and that may be for a later shot, a more larger shot that may be a 4-panel or maybe a 6-panel shot where I can get the North American Nebula and the Pelican Nebula and whatever this down here is called, but that will be for a later shot. So for right now I've got the good part of the North American here and the Cygnus Wall, which you can see right there. Then of course this beautiful dark nebula right in here, and then the Pelican right there. So that's what I've got for my framing. And then I went ahead and I added it. I added the target to a sequence, and the sequence that I have set up, go here to my sequencer, is my sequence that's a mono SHO offsets rotate, and the offsets are filter offsets, and then a rotate, of course, will rotate the camera to match the framing that I've chosen. And you can see here we got about a half an hour or so, or maybe almost an hour before she rises, and I should get about, I'm thinking about 4 hours. Yeah, I'm thinking about 4 hours with this. Now, this is going to be my first object that I'm using these 3 nanometer Antlia filters that I picked up about a month and a half ago. I haven't really had an opportunity to use them. We've been in the midst of galaxy season, and there's been no real nebula of note to take any shots of. And here is my first opportunity to really kind of check out these Antlia SHO filters that are the 3 nanometer filters. They're really beautiful filters, and so I'm going to try them out here and see what I get with them. And so, as you can see here, my sequencing here, when she gets going, I'm going to open the flat cover, toggle the light off, switch the filter to luminosity or luminance filter, slew, center, and rotate. Then I'll start guiding, and then I'll run an autofocus sequence. I'll set up my robo copy so that way I can copy over my subs and my flats, and then I'll get a message here on pushover telling me that the sequence has started. And essentially what I'm doing is I'm doing 3 HA, 3 O3s, and 3 S2s, and then dithering. So I'm doing 3 shots. They're 5 minutes apiece, 300 seconds, and they will dither every 3 exposures of all three filters. So, and then when I reach essentially nautical dawn, which would be at about 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll stop guiding, I'll close the flat panel cover, and I'll park my scope, and then I'll begin to capture my flats and my dark flats. So the first section here is my flats, and I'll toggle the light on, and I'll do 35H and 35O and 35 sulfur, and then I'll toggle the light off, and I'll do my dark flats. And then I'll warm up my camera, and then I'll run my end of night script, thanks to Chad at Patriot Astro. Then I'll disconnect everything, and I'll send a notification to pushover telling me that everything has been completed. So that's essentially my sequence. Now all I have to do is wait until about, looks like about 10:30 for the sequence to actually kick off.